You step out into the crisp morning air, greeted by the sight of other women bustling around like bees before a swarm. They're all dressed in simple, practical woolen clothes, and their faces are etched with determination. The sun is barely up, casting long shadows across the narrow streets, lined with low stone houses. But here's the thing. You realize quickly that these women aren't just getting ready for a regular day. They're preparing for something much bigger. There's a sense of urgency in their voices as one yells out orders to others like military commanders, and you can feel your heart rate quicken along with theirs. You watch as a group of young boys no older than 12 rush past, some carrying spears taller than they are. They're part of the Agoj system, rigorous military training for all Spartan males from age 7. You can hear their shouts and see the sweat on their faces even at this early hour. And you wonder if she's heading off to some kind of feast or celebration. But here's what nobody expected. You turn the corner and find yourself at the training grounds, where a group of women are inspecting the young soldiers as they practice their drills. They're not just watching, they're making notes and offering critiques. But here's the twist. One woman steps forward to address a small gathering of men and boys, her voice carrying clearly across the grounds. You hear her speak about qualities that go beyond physical strength, discipline, endurance, courage under pressure. It's like she's giving them advice on how to be better soldiers. But you can't help but wonder. You follow her lead and see other women nearby, practicing their own skills with swords and spears. They're not just spectators, they're participants, actively honing their abilities. It's like a scene from an action movie, only it's real. But what you hear next makes your jaw drop. The woman addressing the boys tells them that their true tests are yet to come and advises them to look no further than the women around them for inspiration. She speaks of how women must endure childbirth alone, often in dangerous conditions, as if it were a battlefield. You're standing there, struck by this new reality that the strength of Sparta lies not just in its men, but also in its women. But here's the kicker. You notice that some boys actually approach these women for guidance and respect. It's like a total reversal of expected roles. You watch as this woman takes charge, her eyes sharp and focused. She leads them in a series of drills that are not just physical, but mental tests of endurance and willpower. You can see the respect building between them, an unspoken acknowledgement. And yet, despite this newfound camaraderie, there is still a clear line drawn. Women here play their part, not just because they must, but also because it's a badge of honor. But you're left wondering, what does this mean for your life in Sparta? Will the respect and strength these women demonstrate lead to greater rights and freedoms, or is it all just preparation for another kind of battlefield? Congratulations, you've just woken up in ancient Sparta. The good news is you're alive. So are your neighbors, all armed and ready for war. Your bed is a lumpy cot with straw that smells like it's been through a few battles of its own, mixed with the scent of sweat and leather from last night's training session. You blink awake as the sun barely peeks over the mountains. It's dawn in Sparta, but there is no time for lazy mornings here. The mystery deepens. You think to yourself as you stretch your aching muscles from yesterday's training. You've seen glimpses of the respect and strength women have in Sparta. They're not just wives and mothers, but also warriors in their own right. But here's the thing. There is something more going on. As you glance down at your forearm, a strange symbol catches your eye. It's a stylized image of a shield and spear intertwined. You know that this mark signifies strength and readiness for battle. But what does it mean for your life in Sparta? Will the respect and strength these women demonstrate lead to more freedom or something far stranger? You notice other women have these symbols too. Some are just teenagers like you, while others look older, their skin lined from years of hard labor and training. It's not just a mark, it's a rite of passage. You wonder if this is some kind of secret society, or maybe initiation into the ranks of female warriors. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, rumors start floating around. Some say that women who bear these marks are part of an elite group tasked with protecting Sparta's most precious secrets. But here's what nobody expected. You discover a hidden cave behind the cliffs. Inside, ancient texts and maps cover the walls, detailing plans for defense and strategies that could change the fate of Sparta. It's like finding a secret bunker full of military secrets, only with more spears. You study one particular tablet closely, noticing symbols you've never seen before. They look almost. Suddenly, an older woman approaches, her eyes sharp and intense. "Can you read this?" she asks, holding out the tablet to you. "No," you reply, your heart pounding in anticipation. "But I want to." She nods, handing it back with a smile that is both encouraging and unsettling. She whispers something about ancient knowledge and then walks away as quickly as she appeared. The air is thick with mystery and power. You feel like you're on the edge of something incredible, something that will change everything. But what if understanding this secret means stepping into a world far more dangerous than anything Sparta can offer? You leave the cave, but the questions remain. The path ahead is uncertain, filled with danger and opportunity. You might be on the brink of something extraordinary, or about to walk into a trap. And that is when everything changes. You're no longer just a woman in Sparta. You're someone else entirely. That's the real question now. And it's one you'll have to answer soon enough. You're about to think that life in ancient Sparta might have some perks. The fresh air, the scenery, it's like you've woken up in an Instagram filter, except there are no likes here. But here's the thing. You're just starting to enjoy the view when suddenly your Spartan mother shouts from behind you. "Ready for your next challenge?" You turn around, and she is holding what looks like a set of instructions, more like a list of duties that would make an Amazon warehouse look like a vacation resort. But here's the twist. You'd think Sparta was all about training boys for battle, but girls weren't left out either. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, you learn that your training is even more intense than theirs because you're preparing to lead the Army's wives and support network. It's like being a CEO of a company, except this company fights and battles too. However, here comes another shocker. You'd think after all that training you'd be ready for some peace and quiet, maybe a spa day or two, but no such luck. You're about to find out the most shocking detail of all. Everything changes when your mother mentions something about being fully trained. You'd think after years of rigorous training, you'd be treated like royalty, maybe even get a little spa treatment or some downtime, right? But probably not. You're about to discover that being top-notch in Sparta comes with an unexpected twist. You'd think the end of your training would be met with celebration, maybe a small party, or some recognition, but you couldn't be more wrong. The truth is, everything you've been through was just preparation for something much bigger and more daunting. But here's what nobody expected. But here's what few people ever knew about being a Spartan woman. You'd think life was just about raising warriors and spinning wool all day long. Maybe it was about organizing symposiums and drinking wine like the Athenians. But actually, it was neither. You'd be out for a late-night walk, the kind that is supposed to be a quick stroll before bed. Then suddenly, you hear whispers and shuffling in the shadows. Your heart skips a beat because it's not just the wind. You'd think it was just another Spartan patrol checking on security. But here's the thing, it could be anything from secret meetings to covert operations that aren't exactly legal or moral by today's standards. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, everything changed when a messenger approached you, not asking but demanding your presence at dawn. It's like being summoned for jury duty, except there's no coffee or donuts waiting. You think she was off to a diplomatic meeting with other city-states. Maybe it's a ceremony of some sort. But probably not, because what follows isn't exactly a social call. These weren't your typical housewives out for a midnight snack run. They were something more secretive, more mysterious, their whispers sharp as knives in the cold air. And that's when you realize this isn't about weaving or warfare anymore. It turns out being a Spartan woman meant more than just spinning yarns and training hoplites. It involved navigating through a labyrinth of secrets, politics, and yes, perhaps even espionage. But here's what nobody expected every time you solved one mystery. Another question popped up like a jack-in-the-box. You blink, trying to place it. Was this symbol ever mentioned in your training? Was it something passed down through whispers and shadows, never written down? It's like you're suddenly part of a history book nobody read. And just as you think you've figured out one piece of this puzzle, another figure steps into the light. But here's what nobody expected. You're not just a woman in Sparta anymore. You're a part of an intricate network that operates under the radar. You've learned to expect the unexpected, to question everything. But tonight, as you near those imposing stone walls, you can't help but wonder what's waiting for you on the other side. It's like stepping into a movie scene where all the actors have scripts, but no one knows how it ends. It could be anything: another secret meeting, another revelation that shakes the very foundation of your life. But probably not. It's worse than that. You blink back in the night, knowing tomorrow will bring new answers or more questions. But here's what nobody expected. You're not just a woman in Sparta anymore. You're a part of something much larger and darker. And that thought chills you to the bone as dawn approaches, bringing with it whatever secrets are waiting on the other side of those familiar walls. And just like that, you're left standing at the edge of the unknown, about to take a step into the uncharted territory of ancient Sparta as hidden truths. But probably not alone. You close your eyes, the day's events slowly fading away. As you drift into a peaceful slumber, think back to what it meant to be a woman in Sparta. Not just a wife or mother, but an equal partner in society. You imagine waking up each morning with no memory foam bed, instead stretching out on straw mats that are surprisingly comfortable once you get used to them. But probably not alone. Imagine your life as a Spartan woman, where strength was just as important as skill in weaving or cooking. You trained, fought, and supported your husband on the battlefield. And yet, history remembers you so differently. It's like history forgot to mention half of Sparta's story. But here's what nobody expected: your influence didn't end when your life did. It shaped an entire society that thrived for centuries. You trained hard, fought bravely, and lived a life where your worth wasn't just in bearing children or managing the home, but in contributing to the community's strength and resilience. But probably not alone. And perhaps that's the strangest part. Not that they live this way, but that we forgot they ever did. Think about it: the stories of women warriors, equal partners in society. It sounds almost, in today's world, where gender roles are still being redefined every day. Look back at Sparta. You find a mirror reflecting not just ancient warriors, but also women who defied expectations long before feminism was a term. As you drift off to sleep, ponder this hidden connection between then and now. Women's rights, equality, these aren't just modern concepts. They've been part of history for millennia, waiting to be rediscovered. And maybe tonight, as you sleep, you'll dream not just of Sparta's warriors, but also of its women who fought, trained, and lived lives that were more than they let on. Just remember, history is full of hidden heroes. Now close your eyes and rest easy. You've uncovered a secret tonight, a piece of history that's been there all along, but needed someone to shine a light on it.